Hi everyone, welcome. Hope everyone is having a great day. Today I am excited to share that I was accepted into the Altenew Educator Certification Program. This is kind of like a college for paper crafters. The course will allow me to get certified as a teacher. I have to take a series of 25 classes and document my journey along the way. I'm very excited to be able to share my journey with everyone. I have been crafting for a long time, but these classes will allow me to grow and sharpen my skills even more. I will attach the link below if anyone is interested in getting certified. So let's get started on my first card. The card I am making today is from my first class called All About Stamp Layering 1. I will be using the Altenew Vintage Roses stamp and die set. This stamp set can look very intimidating at first because it has a lot of stamps in the set, but once you get the hang of it, it's not that difficult. This stamp set has a layering guide that helps you to know exactly where to line up each stamp. They also make it very easy to know what stamps go together. They put circles all around the stamps that will make up that one image. I find the leaves are a little trickier because they're such smaller pieces, but once you find the groups that go together the first time, then it's much easier. I found for the 5-leaf stamp, if I put numbers next to them, it helped me to remember what order to use them in. I will also be using the Stamping Village Thinking of You stamp set. This stamp set is a collaboration of 12 companies that came together to make stamps that honor servicemen and women, nurses, doctors, and other important people in our lives. Also, with every sale of this stamp set, $5 will be donated to the Save the Children Foundation, which is such a great organization. Okay, let's get started on the card. Today I will be using one of the stamps that has 4 layering images to it, and one of the stamps that has 3 images to it. I will start by cutting a white rectangle with the Hero Arts Infinity dies. The die cutting machine I will be using today is my Gemini Junior. I just love this machine. It's one of my favorites, but you can use any die cutting machine you have. Then I'm going to cut another rectangle that is slightly bigger. I have put all the dimensions at the top of the screen for you. Now I'm going to use my MISTI stamping tool to do some of my stamp layering today. I like to use the MISTI because I find that it's much easier for me, but you can use an acrylic block if you want to. I'll be using my Altenew inks. I like using these inks because they take the guesswork out of what colors work best together. I put my most solid image in the MISTI first. I start with my lightest color, pale mauve, and stamp the first image. I press down to give it a good impression. Then I rotate my paper and I repeat the process. Just a little note to make sure your paper is pushed up against the edge of the MISTI or your next layer will end up off center. I continue to rotate my paper until I have the 4 images stamped. I will then line up my second image. You can see where the 2 curved points line up on the right side of the rose. Then I will bring in my second color, Amethyst. I will stamp the images and keep rotating my paper until all the images have been stamped. Again, making sure my paper is lined up right against the MISTI so the images do not get stamped off center. When all images have been stamped, I will bring in my third stamp. This stamp lines up in the same position. Once it's lined up, I will stamp them with the grape agate color. I will rotate my paper and stamp all the images until I am done. Then I will bring in the final stamp. This image lines up in the same area as all the other images have. I will then stamp all my images with the darkest color, which is called Plum. I did decide to double stamp this image to give it a much bolder look. Once I stamp all the rest of the images, I will then stamp the leaves. I'm going to use the single leaf image. We'll be using the frayed leaf color for the solid image. I did decide to use my acrylic block to do the stamping, only because it's such a small image and I feel it would go faster and waste less paper. I did stamp a lot of images because sometimes I might stamp some off center when I'm doing the second layer. This way I'll have some extra ones if I need them. I will then stamp the second image using the Forest Glade color. The second layer is pretty easy to line up. It's easiest to line the bottom of the stamp with the bottom of the image. I love frayed leaf and florist glades. They're my favorite green colors that I use the most when I'm stamping leaves. As you can see, I did stamp one a little off center, but not bad, 1 out of 7 images. Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment using the MISTI stamping tool again. I will use the Altenew Obsidian black ink along with the Stamping Village Thinking of You stamp set. Today I'm using the We Appreciate You stamp. I'm going to center it right in the middle of the card and then ink it up and stamp it. Once I'm done, I will start stamping more roses directly onto the card. These will be smaller roses and will only have 3 layers to it. I will start out with my most solid image. Then I'm going to use the pale mauve color to ink the first layer. I decided I wanted to double stamp this first layer to make it a little darker. I will move my stamp all around the card until all the first layers have been stamped. Once I'm done, I will then come in with the second stamp. This stamp lines up almost perfectly with the first stamp. Then I will use my next color, Amethyst. I will go around the card and continue to stamp all the images until I am done. When I'm done, I will move on to my final stamp. This image lines up in the bottom on the left side of the stamp. I will use the Grape Agape color for the final layer. These roses will have a lighter look to them since I didn't use the darkest color on them. I continue to stamp all the images until I am done. I'm now going to stamp single leaves around the edge of some of the flowers. I will stamp the solid image using frayed leaf. I'm also going to be using my acrylic block again. I go through and put the leaves in various spots all around on the card. I did decide to double stamp the leaf images, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Sorry, my head keeps getting in the way there. Then I'm going to come in with my second layer. I'm going to be using Forest Glades. This lines up very easily with the solid image. I find it's easiest to line it up from the bottom of the leaf. However, I did stamp one of the leaves a little off center, but I'll fix that when I assemble the card. I continue to stamp the leaves until all of them have been stamped. Today I'm going to use my Scissor Sidekick to die cut all of my images out. I love using the Sidekick when I have a lot of small images because I don't have to wait for one small image to go through my big die cut machine. The Sidekick is very fast and very easy. All I do is cut all the images out in small sections, and then I place the die on top and hold it down with purple tape. You put it on the die cutting plate with the image facing up and crank it through the machine. Very fast and simple to use. I will continue to do this for all the roses and the leaves. You can place the roses and the leaves on the die cutting plate at the same time if you want to. However, I just chose to do them separately, but the plate does fit both at the same time. I will then start assembling my card. I will add foam tape to the back of the rose and adhere it to the front of the card. I add foam tape to all the leaves and place them on the card as well. I will continue to do this until I'm happy with the amount of roses and leaves on the card. I love this look because most of the stamping is one-dimensional, and then some of the roses and leaves are raised up, adding dimension to the card. I assemble the card using Gina Plum Punch cardstock and Nina Classic Crest 110-pound cardstock. I glue the back of the flower panel and adhere it to the Plum cardstock. When I'm done, I adhere it to the white Nina Classic Crest cardstock that is folded to 5.5 and 4 1/4 inches. I like to use the art glitter glue when I have a big area to glue. Now I will use my Pink Fresh Studio Gems to add some sparkle to my card. I love the Pink Fresh Studio Gems. You get a variety pack that comes with a lot of gems in the jar, and most of the colors go with a lot of the cards I make. After I lay them out on my card, I glue them down. When I'm done, I take my Journey corner rounder to round out the edges on the card. That will conclude my card for today, and if you like my video, please subscribe to my channel and keep an eye out for my next video. Thanks and have a great day.